In the heart of Manchester, a city known for its industrial past and resilient spirit, Emma Wilson stood behind the bakery counter, her hands covered in flour and her spirit worn thin. At 28, life had been anything but kind to her. The small window beside her revealed a grey morning, much like the countless mornings that had come before. Emma's world was a delicate balance of survival. Each morning she would wake before dawn, her tiny apartment barely warmer than the streets outside. The walls held memories of her mother, photographs that spoke of happier times before illness had taken her 2 years ago. Now Emma was alone, carrying the weight of memories and responsibilities. Her day began at the Baker's Haven, a small local bakery nestled between old brick buildings. The smell of fresh bread and pastries filled the air, a contrast to the weariness in Emma's eyes. She worked meticulously, her hands moving with practiced precision. Each loaf she shaped, each pastry she decorated was a testament to her determination. The bakery owner, Mr. Roberts, a kind-hearted man in his 50s, watched Emma with a mixture of admiration and concern. He knew her story, how she worked here, in the mornings and cleaned at the community centre by night. "You're working too hard," he would often say, sliding an extra warm roll her way during her brief break. But Emma had no choice. The bills never seemed to stop coming. Rent, utilities, the small repayments for her mother's medical expenses. They hung over her like a constant cloud. Her dreams of continuing her education had been pushed aside, buried beneath the need to survive. During her lunch break, Emma would sit on the small bench outside the bakery. Her lunch was simple, a sandwich she'd made herself, carefully budgeting every morsel. Around her, the city moved in its usual rhythm. People rushed past, lost in their own worlds, rarely noticing the young woman whose life was a constant struggle. At night, her second job awaited. The community centre was a different world, quiet, almost peaceful. As she cleaned the floors, her mind would wander. She'd watch the posters about education, job training, and community support, dreams that seemed just out of her reach. Sometimes, she would pause, leaning on her mop, and allow herself a moment of hope. Her tiny apartment told the story of her life. A small table with a worn laptop, books carefully collected from second-hand stores, a few photographs, and practical, well-worn clothing. Every item was chosen with purpose. Every penny saved was a small victory. Despite everything, Emma maintained a warmth that touched those around her. At the bakery, she always had a kind word for customers. The elderly regulars would smile when she served them, touched by her genuine kindness. Mr. Roberts often remarked that Emma had a spirit that couldn't be broken, a resilience that went beyond her years. Her mother had been her greatest teacher. Even in her final days battling illness, she had taught Emma the value of hope. "Life will test you," she would say, "but never let it dim your light." Those words echoed in Emma's mind during her hardest moments. The city of Manchester seemed to reflect Emma's journey, once an industrial powerhouse, now reinventing itself, finding strength in transformation. She saw herself the same way. This struggle was not her final chapter, but merely a paragraph in a larger story. As the day drew to a close, Emma would count her tips, calculate her hours, and plan her next move. Every extra pound was a step towards something better. She didn't know exactly what that better looked like, but she believed it existed. Her phone would occasionally buzz with messages from her few close friends, fellow workers who understood her struggle. They would share job opportunities, support each other through tough times. In this network of mutual support, Emma found her strength. The clock would tick, the city would grow quiet, and Emma would prepare for her night shift. Another day of resilience, another day of hope. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she was determined to face it with the same courage that had carried her this far. In the soft light of the evening, Emma Wilson represented something profound, the unbreakable spirit of those who refused to be defined by their circumstances. Her story was just beginning. The community centre stood quietly as evening settled over Manchester. Shadows stretched across the polished floors, waiting for the night's last cleaning shift. Emma moved her mop methodically, her movements practiced and efficient. Her mind wandered, thinking about the day's challenges and the bills waiting at Home Thomas Peterson arrived unexpectedly that evening. At 72, he was a retired schoolteacher, with kind eyes and hands that spoke of years of gentle guidance. He walked with a slight limp, a reminder of an old teaching injury, carrying a stack of books and a thermos of tea. The community center's literacy program was his passion. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he would come to help adults struggling to improve their reading and writing skills. Most volunteers came and went quickly, but Thomas was different. He saw potential where others saw only struggle. Emma didn't notice him at first. Her focus was on cleaning, on making sure every corner was spotless. Thomas watched her for a moment, recognizing the same determination he had seen in countless students over his decades of teaching. "Would you like some tea?" he asked, breaking the silence. Emma looked up, surprised. Most people barely acknowledged her during her cleaning shifts. She hesitated, then nodded. Thomas poured 2 cups from his thermos, offering her one with a warm smile. As they sat, Thomas began to talk. Not about anything important, just simple conversation about the weather, the city, the way Manchester had changed over the years. Emma listened, grateful for the unexpected kindness. Something in Emma caught Thomas's attention. He noticed the textbooks peeking out of her bag, saw the way her eyes lit up when he mentioned education. "You're studying?" he asked gently. Emma explained her dream of becoming a social worker, how she was taking night classes when she could afford them. Her voice was soft, but filled with hope. Thomas recognized that spark, the same one he had seen in countless students who wanted to break free from their current circumstances. "Education is a powerful tool," Thomas said, his voice filled with wisdom. "It's not just about learning. It's about opening doors that seemed impossible before." Over the next few weeks, an unexpected friendship formed. Thomas began offering to help Emma study during her breaks. He would bring additional books, explain complex concepts, and share stories from his teaching days. His knowledge seemed endless, his patience remarkable. Emma discovered Thomas had lost his wife 2 years ago. The community center was his way of staying connected, of continuing to make a difference. In helping her, he found a sense of purpose that had been missing since his wife's passing. Their study sessions became a lifeline for Emma. Thomas helped her understand subjects that had previously seemed impossible. Mathematics, which once terrified her, became manageable. Writing essays became an opportunity for expression rather than a source of stress. The other workers at the community center noticed the change in Emma. She seemed more confident, more hopeful. Her smile became brighter, her step more determined. Thomas had given her more than just academic support. He had given her belief in herself. Some evenings, Thomas would share stories about his years of teaching. He spoke of students who had overcome incredible challenges, of the power of education to transform lives. Emma would listen, absorbing every word, seeing her own potential reflected in these stories. "You have something special," Thomas would tell her. "Not just intelligence, but heart. The world needs people like you, people who understand struggle and want to help others." Their friendship was unexpected, but profound. Emma found a mentor, a friend, almost a grandfather figure. Thomas found renewed purpose, a chance to continue making a difference in the world. As winter approached, their study sessions became more frequent. The community center became a place of transformation, of hope. Emma's dreams started to feel less like distant wishes and more like achievable goals. Thomas believed in Emma more than she believed in herself. And sometimes that's exactly what someone needs, someone who sees their potential before they can see it themselves. In the quiet of the community center, surrounded by books and possibility, an unexpected connection was changing 2 lives forever. The winter wind bit hard against Manchester's streets, mirroring the challenges Emma faced. Balancing 2 jobs and night classes seemed impossible, but she was determined to prove everyone wrong. Her world had become a delicate dance of survival and dreams. Every morning began before sunrise. Emma would wake at 4:30 a.m., her tiny apartment, cold and quiet. She'd prepare her meals for the day, simple sandwiches, carefully measured portions that would keep her going. Her budget was tight, every penny calculated with precision. The bakery job demanded energy. Mr. Roberts watched her, carefully, concerned about her increasing exhaustion. Some mornings he would slip her an extra pastry, knowing she needed the strength. "You're pushing too hard," he would say, but Emma would just smile and continue working. Night classes became her lifeline. Thomas helped her navigate the complex world of academic studies. Some evenings she would arrive at the community center exhausted, her eyes heavy but her spirit unbroken. Thomas would have hot tea waiting, listening to her challenges with understanding. Mathematics proved to be her biggest struggle. Numbers would dance on the page, refusing to make sense. Thomas would break down complex problems into simple steps, his patience never wavering. "Everyone learns differently," he would remind her. "Your brain just needs time to understand." Emma's social work dream seemed both close and impossibly distant. The coursework was challenging, demanding more time than she could spare. She would study during her lunch breaks, during quiet moments at the community center, sometimes working through the night. Her colleagues noticed the change. At the bakery, she became more focused. At the community center, her cleaning became more efficient. Every moment was an opportunity to move closer to her goal. Her determination was becoming legendary among those who knew her. Financial pressure was constant. Some weeks, she would have to choose between buying textbooks or paying for heating. Thomas helped where he could, finding second-hand books, connecting her with scholarship resources. His network of retired teachers became an unexpected support system. The winter seemed to test her resolve. Mornings were dark and cold, her tiny apartment offering little comfort. But Emma had learned resilience from her mother. Each challenge was an opportunity, each struggle a chance to grow stronger. Her social work classes opened her eyes to larger societal challenges. She began to see her own struggle as part of a broader narrative of working-class resilience. In the pace, theories she studied during nights became real through her daily experiences. Thomas became more than a mentor. He was a confidant, a source of emotional support. When Emma felt like giving up, he would share stories of his own challenges, of students who had overcome incredible odds. "Success is not about perfection," he would say. "It's about persistence." Her classmates were surprised by her commitment. While others complained about workload, Emma saw each assignment as a privilege. She understood the value of education in a way many took for granted. Her perspective was unique, shaped by years of struggle. The community center became her second home. Thomas would often find her studying in quiet corners, surrounded by books and determination. He saw in her the same passion he had seen in his best students decades ago, a burning desire to make a difference. Financial challenges continued to test her. Some months, she would need to take extra cleaning shifts, sacrificing study time. But she was learning to be strategic, to maximize every moment. Thomas helped her develop study techniques that made her learning more efficient. Her dream of becoming a social worker was no longer just a distant hope. It was becoming a realistic goal. Each passed exam, each completed assignment, was a step closer to transformation. Emma was rewriting her own story, one challenging moment at a time. As winter began to give way to spring, something was changing. Emma was changing. The tired, struggling woman was slowly transforming into a confident, determined professional. Her journey was proving that with support, dedication, and belief, anything was possible. Thomas would watch her, a proud smile hidden behind his glasses. He knew she was becoming something extraordinary, not just a social worker, but a beacon of hope for others facing similar challenges. In the heart of Manchester, Emma's story was just beginning to unfold. Spring arrived in Manchester with a promise of change. Emma stood in the community centre, her hands trembling as she opened the scholarship application. The opportunity seemed too good to be true, a full scholarship for community workers pursuing higher education. Thomas sat beside her, his experienced hands helping her navigate the complex form. "Take your time," he whispered, understanding the weight of this moment. Each question felt like a mountain to climb, each response a potential gateway to a different life. The scholarship wasn't just about money, it represented hope, a chance to break the cycle of financial struggle that had defined her life. Emma remembered her mother's words. Dreams don't have price tags. They have determination. Her application told a story, not just of academic achievements, but of resilience. She wrote about working 2 jobs, about caring for her mother during her final days, about her commitment to helping communities like her own. Her words were raw, honest, revealing the depth of her journey. Mr. Roberts from the bakery offered to review her application. "So you've got something special," he told her, his kind eyes filled with belief. The entire community seemed to be holding its breath, waiting alongside Emma. Nights became a blur of preparation. Emma would study after her cleaning shift, Thomas helping her practice interview techniques. They would sit in the quiet community center, going through potential questions, building her confidence. The competition was fierce. Hundreds of applicants from across the region were applying for limited spots. Emma knew her chances were slim, but Thomas had taught her that hope was not about guarantees, but about believing in possibilities. Her current employers became unexpected allies. Mr. Roberts wrote a recommendation letter that spoke of her dedication. The community center staff shared stories of her commitment. Emma's reputation was becoming her strongest asset. Interview day arrived like a storm. Emma wore a simple but carefully chosen outfit, her hands steady, her mind focused. Thomas waited outside, his prayers silent but powerful. Years of teaching had taught him that sometimes belief was the most powerful preparation. The interview panel was tough. Experienced professionals who had seen countless applications, but Emma was different. She spoke not just with words, but with her entire journey. Her experiences of struggle, her genuine desire to help others, shone through. Weeks passed. Waiting became a test of patience. Emma continued her routine, bakery in the morning, cleaning at night, studying whenever possible. Thomas would bring her tea, share stories, keep her spirit lifted. Then came the letter. Her simple envelope that would change everything. Emma's hands shook as she opened it, Thomas watching carefully. The first line brought tears. "We are pleased to inform you. Full scholarship, living stipend, complete support for her social work degree." The words seemed unreal. Emma read the letter multiple times, unable to believe her journey had reached this moment. Thomas hugged her, his own eyes wet. "Your mother would be so proud," he whispered. The community center, which had witnessed her struggle, now celebrated her victory. News spread quickly. The bakery celebrated. Her cleaning colleagues congratulated her. Mr. Roberts organized a small celebration, bringing a cake decorated with, "Congratulations, Emma." Her victory was more than personal. It represented hope for everyone struggling to break barriers. A testament that education could transform lives, that determination could overcome economic challenges. Emma understood this was just the beginning. The scholarship was a tool, not the destination. Her real journey of helping others was just starting. She thought about the communities she would support, the families she would help. In the soft light of the community center, surrounded by people who had believed in her, Emma realized something profound. Success was not about individual achievement, but about the collective hope we create for each other. The scholarship was more than a piece of paper. It was a promise that every struggle has meaning, that every dream is worth pursuing. Emma's story was becoming a beacon of hope for others who dared to believe. Manchester, with its industrial history and resilient spirit, had produced another fighter, and Emma was ready to make her mark on the world. 5 years passed, transforming Emma's life in ways she never imagined. The small office at the community center now bore her name, Emma Wilson, Senior Social Worker. Her journey from struggling bakery worker to respected professional seemed like a distant dream. Thomas sat in the corner chair, older but still proud. His health had declined, but his spirit remained unbroken. He watched Emma work, remembering the young woman who had once cleaned these very floors, her dreams seeming impossible. Emma's program focused on supporting families facing economic challenges. She understood their struggles intimately. Each case was personal, each family's story a reflection of her own past. Her approach was different from traditional social workers. She didn't just offer support, she offered hope. The community had changed around her. Families she had helped now sent Christmas cards, brought their children to meet her. Some of those children were now pursuing their own education, inspired by Emma's story. Her impact stretched beyond paperwork and official reports. Every Monday, she ran a special workshop for single parents and struggling workers. The room would fill with people who looked like her younger self, tired, determined, hoping for a chance. Emma would share her story, not as a lecture but as a conversation of possibility. Mr. Roberts from the bakery had retired, but he would visit occasionally. He would bring pastries, watching with pride as Emma continued to break barriers. "You've done more than succeed," he would tell her. "You've created a path for others." Thomas's health was failing, but his influence remained strong. On good days, he would attend her workshops, sharing wisdom from his decades of teaching. The connection between them had only grown stronger over the years. Her work attracted national attention. Emma was invited to speak at conferences, to share strategies for community support. She always remembered where she came from, keeping her presentations simple, honest, and deeply personal. The scholarship that had changed her life now became a program she helped manage. Each year she would review applications, looking for those same signs of determination she once had, the spark of possibility in someone's eyes. Her tiny apartment was now a comfortable home. Bookshelves lined the walls, filled with professional texts and personal memories. Photographs of her mother, of Thomas, of families she had helped decorated the space. Each told a story of transformation. The community center had become more than a workplace. It was a symbol of hope. Emma had transformed the space, creating programs that supported education, job training, and family support. Her childhood dream had become a living reality. Some evenings she would sit with Thomas, sharing tea and memories. He had been more than a mentor. He had been the bridge between her past and her future. Their friendship remained a testament to the power of unexpected connections. Emma's work extended beyond official hours. She would help families with homework, offer advice, connect people with resources. Her phone was always available, her approach always personal. She understood that true support was about relationship, not just procedure. The local newspaper did a feature on her work, calling her Manchester's hope maker. But Emma remained humble. She saw her success as a collective achievement, a result of all those who had believed in her. Her mother's photograph always sat on her desk. In quiet moments, Emma would speak to her, sharing her achievements. "I did it," she would whisper. "I became who you always knew I could be." Thomas's health declined, but his pride never wavered. On his final days, he would tell the nurses about Emma, about the young woman who had transformed her life. His stories became a legacy of hope. The community center became a beacon of possibility. Young people would come, hearing stories of Emma's journey. Her path showed them that struggle was not a limitation, but a starting point. As another year began, Emma looked forward. She wasn't just a social worker. She was a bridge builder, a hope creator, a living proof that determination could transform lives. In the heart of Manchester, Emma Wilson continued to write her story, a story of resilience, hope, and the incredible power of believing in oneself.